Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. The Dennis, Dylan, and NW.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball based right here in lovely Marin County. This is season 3, episode 19. We have just gotten into the precursor to March Madness. We got March Madness coming up next week, and it's a fun time of year, and it's a great time of year to get into the specifics of a side of the game that we don't often talk about. More about that later, but first, to introduce himself and talk about our very exciting Run TMC Encore custom pop-up store, I give you David Levine. Good morning.
Thank you, everybody. Please stay seated. Please, standing ovation is too much. Well, Duff, you just buried the lead right there. So we got a pop-up store, our Run TMC shirts, which are fire. They are amazing. Our friends at Encore Custom have a new material that they've been playing with that's super cool, and shirts are available for purchase. We've had a number of people come up to us over the years saying they want a shirt. To date, the only way you could get a shirt is either you be a sponsor, you be a guest, or you pony up and buy one. And here's your chance to do that third thing. So we will put the link in the show notes. I've also posted it to Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram at Run TMC Podcast, you can get it there, but the store will be open for another week or two. Go get a shirt. They're awesome.
You could also steal one, Dave. You could just, see someone out there in public and just saddle right on up and rip it right off of them. But we wouldn't recommend that, but that would be another way you could obtain one. But I would say, Dave, why don't you just go find the show notes, find the link, go in there, click on it, take a look at the shirt. It's a black, but it's been sublimated, and it's going to look like charcoal gray. It's got our iconic logo on there, and they're going to be available for order for roughly another 2 weeks. By the time March Madness is into the Sweet 16, well, maybe let's say Elite 8. By the time it's to the Elite 8, the store will probably be closed, Dave, and that would be unfortunate if you want a shirt and you realize it too late. So now's a good time to go in there. Season 3 of the Run TMC T March Madness edition. So please check it out. We're going to be ordering some for our upcoming guests, and I look forward to checking out this new version, the new fabric, and the new color scheme. So very exciting, Dave. Can you tell I'm excited?
You sound excited. You are excited. So speaking of stealing one, if you were to steal one, that would be a foul.
Correct.
And
nice. I like that, Dave.
Thank you. I'm a professional podcaster, Doug. We are fortunate to have yet another wonderful roundtable in this episode, and the roundtable, our 7th, we believe. We did the math. Don't know if that math is good. I was an English major. Duffy's a doctor. We're not math people, but let's go with it. This is an officials roundtable. We had 2 fantastic referees. We'll get to that in a minute, but we're excited about this one. So before we get to the roundtable, and after you go buy some shirts from our store, we do have some glossary terms that we wanted to hit. And these are related to the discussion today at the roundtable, Duff. So why don't you hit the first one, I'll hit the second one.
All right, let's kick this off, Dave. I'm going to kick it off. And so this comes up a bunch in our interview, but it doesn't get defined. It's pretty obvious, but we just want to get into the etymology of it just a little bit. And that is the term kick the call. To kick the call. To kick the call, if you are an official, means that you flubbed it. You screwed it up. You really missed it. And I believe, Dave, and my friends at my extern Sir Claudius has helped me with this. I believe it probably arises from the baseball observation of when a fielder is trying to field a ball that's coming at them, and rather than field it with their glove, they kick it, which I have seen happen. Dave, I've done that myself in Little League as well as in high school baseball. I have kicked it. And so kicking the call means to flub it. So pretty obvious, but we thought we'd just go and define that right off the bat before we hear it from our guests on this interview.
Yeah, in particular, Mike Saia, who one of our guests, and people know Mike. He was a 15-year head coach at Marin Catholic. He was a legendary player at Drake, but Mike had a long career as an official, both at the high school and the collegiate level. Love just listening to Mike. I just want to be a sponge whenever he starts talking and just take in all of his insights and wisdom. But he loves to use that phrase of, oh, well, I kicked that one. I kicked that call. And so I'm glad that you had the idea to do a glossary term there. It's pretty obvious, but just to make sure everybody understands, that's what it means. To screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will take
all right.
next one. Another phrase. Both Mike Saia and our friend Nancy Clary, our two guests, use this phrase in this discussion. Run the coach. Duffy, what is run the coach?
Run the coach means to get the coach off the floor and into the locker room and perhaps run him right out of the gym or her right out of the gym because they are not comporting themselves in a manner conducive to staying on the sideline, that they are either throwing a fit, they're throwing chairs, they're getting personal, they're stealing shirts off of people in the stands, whatever it might be. They have crossed a line and they're going to get run right out of the gym.
Exactly. Another one that's patently obvious, but we just wanted to make sure everybody understood what they meant when they talked about running the coach. And this was an interesting discussion topic in this roundtable, was their perspective on ejecting coaches, right? So if you get 2 technicals as a coach, you're ejected, but you don't even need 2 technicals. You can be ejected short of getting your second technical. But yes, running the coach, they mentioned this a couple times and we just wanted to clarify. It means ejecting a coach from the game.
And Dave, you can run a player as well, but it seems, and of course, neither you nor I are officials. And so we were just kind of curious participants in this conversation, but I would probably guess that, it's fairly uncommon for official to say, oh yeah, I ran LeBron James last night. You're going to be more like, yeah, Reddick was being a jerk. I ran him. I ran the coach.
Yep, very much so. Now, obviously, we do see players get ejected more often at the pro level than college or high school. I mean, obviously, the famous one was Draymond was ejected when he did his kick to the midsection. Who
right.
Kick?
Well, I'm not saying they don't get ejected. I'm just saying the terminology applies more to coach. So you're ejecting the player, but you're running the coach. And of course, you also could eject the coach. We hear that all the time.
That's true. Good point. Well,
it's not math, Dave. It's not math.
It's not math. So those are our glossary terms. Again, not too complicated, but we just want to make sure that as the ref roundtable unfolds, everybody's aware of what they're talking about. But we're excited to get into this one. It was a really fun discussion. First, Duff, why don't we thank our sponsors?
And thank you to our newest sponsor, the Social Club. That is the Social KLUB, a modern indoor playground in Sausalito for kids aged 0 to 7. It is designed for play, exploration, and creativity. By day, it's a beautifully curated play space where kids can burn energy and parents can relax. That sounds great if you have little kids. And after hours, it transforms into a hub for adult classes, workshops, and events, bringing the same sense of community to grown-ups too. This is co-founded by Tessa White, who is a big fan and now a sponsor of the podcast. Thank you to Tessa. And you can find the Social Club at 2650 Bridgeway in Sausalito, California. The Social Club is also available for rental for parties. You pay the rent, then there is the party, and the rest is gravy. The Run TMC podcast is also sponsored by the Hub in San Anselmo. With plenty of parking and new Tesla charging stations at Red Hill Shopping Center, the Hub is the go-to burger spot where locals come to dine, drink, socialize, and sponsor Run TMC podcast roundtables. While their 100% grass-fed burgers are divine, the menu also features healthy salads made with local produce, vegetarian and vegan options, and the best crispy chicken sandwich in Marin. Amen to that. With 8 craft beers and ciders on tap, plus hand-spun milkshakes, there is something for everyone. Big thank you again to Jerry and Rebecca, to Jake and Dexter Beers, and all of the Hub staff that welcome us to the Hub for good food and good company and above average podcasting. Thank you again to the Hub.
We are sponsored by Batiste Rum. Thank you to our friend John Lawson for supporting us again. Batiste Rum is imported in bulk from the French Caribbean before proofing and bottling in Napa. It's made from 100% sugarcane juice, not molasses or syrups like other rums, so it's light and dry with a clean, not sweet taste, making it perfect for mixing your favorite cocktail. Its production process has been third-party verified as being carbon negative without relying on purchased offsets, so you know it's done right. Find Batiste Rum at fine local retailers like United, Nugget, Total Wine, Marin Beverage Outlet, and more, or ask for it. Check it out at Batiste Rum, that's BATISTERHUM.com. And please always drink responsibly. Thanks, John.
You know, Dave, we've been seeing a lot more teams in the Bay, and especially here in Marin, repping Encore Custom lately. Their uniforms and warm-ups are totally legit, and I'm not just glazing on a spurious level here, Dave. This is real glazing.
Good vocab word. Love the spurious. Exactly, Duff. Couldn't agree more. Most teams have been stuck with the same kind of template uniforms that everyone else has been wearing, but Encore is a place that actually lets teams build something unique to their style and brand.
Yeah, bespoke, just like our Run TMC tees that are coming back again, Dave. Vortex fabric, which is awesome. So yeah, whether it's basketball, volleyball, lacrosse, track, even full sideline sets for players and fans, they'll design what you need with your colors, your graphics, your vibe, and the quality is next level.
So check them out at encorecustom.com or stop by their Santa Fe headquarters on 4th Street. Duffy and I have spent a lot of time in that location hanging with our friend Neil. If your program needs new gear for the season, Encore is the move. Thank you, Encore. We love you.
Word. Thank you, Encore. Thank you, Neil.
Okay, thank you to our sponsors. And another reminder, if you didn't catch the drift of our earlier conversation, Dave, please visit the show notes and click on the Encore Custom link and check out the Run TMC March Madness gear. And by gear, I mean a single shirt, but it's fire. You can enhance your drip. You will be glazed for your fiery drip if you go check out the Encore Custom store. Okay, we're going to get into this roundtable. I think I speak for us both, Dave. I was fascinated the whole way through. It was really fun and informational to get the perspective of the official, especially when we got into topics of how they communicate, as well as essentially one of the questions that we both brought up at the end, which is, why do you do this? I mean, what brings you back when you really have nothing tangible to gain in the moment when you're officiating a game? In fact, really, you never get applauded. You only get abused. So, but before we do that, Dave, we wanted to cover just one area of our conversation because we had follow-up from our friend Nancy on this, and that is the evaluation process for officials. And she talks a little bit about it, and she talked a little bit about the different categories that they get observed on. So we'll let her speak to that in the roundtable. But in follow-up, she did send us an example of an evaluation. She was kind enough to send an example of an evaluation of her own performance, which was awesome. And it is really robust and detailed. And for example, there are, I'm counting here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different categories that they are evaluated on. And there's video feedback as well. Just a couple of the categories are whistle and voice, and Nancy was judged as strong and solid in this particular assessment. Uniform and appearance, presence and confidence, game management during dead balls. Anyway, Nancy got a very good review across the board, and very helpful for me to take a look at this as a coach. Now I understand better how officials are reviewing and judging themselves and their performance.
Yeah, I thought it was great that Nancy sent this. Her evaluation was really interesting to see. We kind of put her on the spot in the interview and asked her what the categories were. And I can now see why she couldn't totally remember all the categories, because there are several. But very cool to see this. It's interesting. The refs are evaluated a couple times a year. It's funny. They typically do know when they're being evaluated, but maybe not always. And also with the advent of streaming and NFHS, where games are streamed. Now, Nancy mentioned in the interview that sometimes you can be evaluated online, so you don't even know it. But our question about, why you do this, I thought the answers were great. That's near the end of the interview. It's a question I often ask myself, like, why would anybody choose to be a referee? It's just a thankless job. People only notice you when you screw up, it seems, and you do a great job and you don't get any kind of credit. So clearly they have a love for the game. There's a competitive spirit in them. And, you hear Nancy and Mike talk about their approach to the game, and it was fascinating to hear. And I definitely have a different outlook now. I was watching a game last night on TV, and now I'm looking at the refs differently than I did previously.
Right. I think the officials that are doing it for the right reason are perfectionists, because they get a joy out of doing a job very well, doing it sometimes perfectly. But anyway, I think that was my takeaway, is that, for the best officials, they are perfectionists, and they realize that, they probably won't achieve perfection in this particular arena, but they can sure chase after it and try and get it as close to perfect as possible.
Yep, exactly. They're just competitors. And both Mike and Nancy, as we talk about, were really good players, college basketball players themselves. Obviously, Mike had a long career as a coach as well. So they've lived being around athletics, and particularly basketball. And so here's another extension of that.
Agreed. All right, Dave, let's get into the roundtable. Thanks again to the hub. We have a little Holden Ballard, early appearance in this roundtable, but we also want to shout out Braden Stewart and our buddy Chris, who was there at the hub, and of course Jerry and Rebecca, our favorites.
And we had a guest star, Kaden Korst, popped by. She asked a question, so KK was around as well. So thanks, KK, for joining. Can't thank Nancy and Mike enough. They were awesome and gracious. We did want to have Daryl Rory on as well. And Daryl, who our diehards will remember from season 1, Daryl's a great guy, was a great athlete in his own right, and has been a ref in the MCAL for many years. Daryl couldn't make it last minute because, Duffy, he had to referee a game. He was refereeing the CYO championship game. So we were sad to not have Daryl there, but we'll definitely have him back on because he's one of our favorites.
Yep. Love Daryl. Okay. All right, Dave. Let's hit it.
All right. We're going. Thanks for being here, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, we're back at the hub. This is what number roundtable is this?
Oh, Dave, you're putting me on the spot
6?
right away.
7?
7.
Is it? Maybe.
Couple players, skills, couple
That's right.
coaches.
Yeah. Okay. But the best one, because now we have an officials roundtable.
There you go.
And we have 2 esteemed guests. We invited 3. The third one, pointedly and ironically, is reffing right now. So Daryl Rory couldn't join us, but we'll do another one with Daryl. But we have 2 of the best around, Nancy Clary and Mike Saia. As opposed to having me drone on about you, why don't you both introduce yourselves and give us your reffing bio, your reffing background. So Nancy, why don't you start?
Well, let's see. I've been reffing for 30 years, and I know that because I was pregnant with my son, which is how I knew I was pregnant, because before one of my games, I was asleep in the car, and I said, what am I asleep for? And then I realized that I was pregnant. So I always know exactly how long I've been reffing. And the reason I got into reffing was I was dating somebody who was a referee. His name was Mike Parnell Whitey, and we dated for quite a while, and I used to go to his games because I was in college and I graduated from college, and I was playing basketball myself, and I was going to his game, watching him officiate, going out after the games, kind of hanging out with the refs. Mike was one of them at the time.
Yeah.
Bob McClain, Brett Tavani. You know, we'd go to Santa Fe Joe's, we'd rehash the games, we'd talk about basketball. And after Mike and I broke up, I started reffing. So it's been a while since, and so that's how I got into reffing, and that's how I've been reffing for 30 years. I've been the president of our Golden Gate officials for about 15 years.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're shortchanging because you have a pretty incredible athletic bio yourself. So aside from reffing, walk us through, okay, where'd you go to high school? And then leading question, tell us about your high school and college athletic exploits.
Don't like this part, but
I know you don't, but go ahead.
you know, I started playing basketball when I was a freshman. We didn't have basketball for girls until you started high school.
And where'd you go to high school?
Santa Fe High School.
Okay, here we
Grew
go.
up in Santa Fe. But we had volleyball because that's what girls played, was volleyball. So we didn't have basketball. So the first time I stepped on a basketball court was when I was a freshman at Santa Fe High School. And I played basketball my frosh soft my freshman year.
We got a little Holden Ballard sighting.
Hello, Holden Ballard.
Holden.
Thank you for interrupting our live podcast, Holden. Go, Nancy.
Okay. Yeah. So
Love
I
giving
played frosh soft basketball, and then I played varsity sophomore, junior, senior. That was my high school.
Okay. And who was the coach at Santa Fe High at that time?
Frosh soft was Ron Wheatley.
Oh, yeah.
And Karen Rivers was the varsity coach.
Okay.
Karen and Ike Rivers, they were the varsity coaches.
Okay.
Ted Kane. Ted Kane coached me. Actually, Ted coached me my freshman year. And then Ron took over for Karen, I believe, my sophomore or junior year. So Ron was tough. Like, he was very straight-laced and no messing around. And, he was not like Karen and not like Ted. So Ron was my first introduction to organized structured basketball.
And so Marin Old Heads, which is like 98% of our listener base, will know that name because he won state titles with Novato, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ron was one of the best ever in the county girls basketball.
Yeah, I still see Ron because he was a teacher up at Windsor
Yeah.
for years. And when I would referee like North Coast or NorCal, Ron would be in the stands. And I'd always have to apologize to him for being such a jerk in high school because I was, kind of immature high school kid. And he was tough. He was my first introduction to structured basketball. So, yeah. But in the end, Ron was good.
So then after high school,
So after high school, I went to UC Santa Barbara. I was not a very big person in high school. I was small and light, and I really hadn't developed as a basketball player. So I played softball my freshman and sophomore years at UC Santa Barbara, but I always loved basketball, and I always would want to be on the basketball team. So my junior year, I went out for basketball, and I gave up softball, and I played basketball my junior year. I just walked on, which was not too hard back then. Yeah, so I played basketball my junior year, and then my senior year, I didn't play. I just wanted to graduate.
okay. So college, just walked on an UCSB. It's like somebody else we know, Tom Poser. Awesome. Well, Nancy, thank you. I know you're humble. Thank you for telling us about that. Mike, you're not a stranger to our listeners, but in case there are people who have been under a rock for 40 years and don't know who you are, give us the quick background on Mike Saia.
Grew up in Fairfax, graduated from Drake in 1979. So sandwiched in between Eddie Joe Chavez and TOC 1974, and then my brother's group of 1982 state champion.
Yep.
And all the accolades and the tradition. I just feel just so fortunate just to be a piece of that. And it still resonates and still get reminded of it, if not daily, at least weekly. And it feels good. It feels good to be a Drake Pirate. Then I coached at Marin Catholic, just finished up last year after 15 years of coaching.
Yep.
But back to officiating, I got started in CYO our freshman year of high school, and it was really to make a few bucks. And if I recall, I think it was $5 a game to ref and then you got $1 to keep score. So they'd send 3-man crews and you just rotate. So you may get out of there with $22. I was trained by Bruce Shoemaker, who's one of Nancy's or one of the GGOB's evaluators now, very involved.
Yeah.
Bruce, Mike Kessel, and Bud Cruiser. And we would go to St. Anselm's gym every Sunday night and to go through training for an hour on the court and then an hour of rules. And the way they got a bunch of high school knuckleheads, which we all were, reffing CYO, to come is you didn't get paid. The only way you got paid was to come to the meeting the following week to get paid for the previous week that you worked. And they didn't give that to you. They gave you your money and then they gave you next week's assignments.
Okay.
And so they had it dialed in perfectly to keep 14, 15, 16-year-olds engaged. But really more importantly, and which I think catapulted me, was the training. And the training was basic, but the training was so valuable in positioning and mechanics. And Bruce and Mike and Bud, they, probably like Ron was with you in coaching, it got us discipline where, you think you were the cool guy sitting in the back of this class, like hurry up and do this so I can get paid. But you really learn. And so what happened was I ended up playing at College of Marin, then I played at Cal Poly.
Right.
Always needed a few bucks. So I reffed intramurals there. But I had the training of CYO. The one thing I'd like to interject in between that, when I was a junior in high school and Chris Breen was a senior, Chris Breen was another teammate at Drake. He ended up refereeing in the CBA. He was a San Francisco policeman, refereed in the CBA, which would now be the G League.
Yes, kids, that's the G League.
Yes. So so that was kind of a big deal. And he'd go to Montana or Idaho or
Albany Patroons.
Oh, exactly. There you go. And I'll obviously keep his San Francisco PD job.
Right.
But the Manzanita Center in Marin City was looking for 2 refs every Sunday night, and they just couldn't keep any kind of consistency. And either Chris got the contact or I did. And so for one whole, I think, spring season, Chris and I would go into Marin City and we meet the Small brothers. They were wrestlers. I think they could be Hall of Fame wrestlers in Marin County, but they would meet us. They'd bring us in and we'd ref either 2 or 3 games, like 5, 6, and 7 on Sunday nights. And that's where I got the introduction to see basketball at a higher level.
Right.
And the other thing, don't tell Bruce, but we could use the NBA mechanics of Mendy Rudolph, Daryl Garrettson, Jake O'Donnell.
Yeah.
And so it was like being away from our teachers and being away from our parents, and we could let it go. And we just had a blast, but I really got exposed.
So what do you mean by NBA mechanics? Like what?
Like loose ball foul and just more because back in the 70s.
It's a more fulsome rule book.
Well, it wasn't really rule book. It was just the flamboyant mechanics.
Oh, okay.
If you go back in the 70s and look at the way these guys, they're skipping and traveling and pointing and just really, not by the book like everything is now. And Chris and I,
have the book.
Nancy has the rule book with her, literally.
You would get called out on that if you would do that. But the NBA back in that day, those guys were as much a part of the game as
there was kind of a theater aspect to it a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Chris and I got to do that because, we were the Warriors 74, 75.
Sure.
I was 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, formative years.
Yeah. That was part of, you combine the Warriors with Drake. I mean, basketball was going to be in my life.
Give us your traveling call.
Yeah,
do we see it?
It's like you hop on your left foot for 3 times while you're traveling, and you give it the point.
Yeah.
And so we could do that at the Manzanita League.
Yeah,
and
it's like a Naked Gun when he's the umpire.
But more importantly, we got exposed to a higher level of basketball, and that was, I think, anyway, got me to.
So this here, Nancy, I'm already deviating from our questions in the script. Okay. So you're both college basketball players. You're both really good athletes and competitors before you officiate, right? So to what degree do you think it's important that you played the game to be a good ref? Do you need to? Is it helpful to have been a player to be a good ref, or can you be a good ref without having ever played basketball?
Well, it's interesting. Our good friend Larry Moyer, he was an NBA scout, and he would have to go to all the Warriors games, and he was the on-site observer.
Yeah.
And so every now and then he would take me to a game, probably took me to a few games.
Mhm.
And he would go and he would just look at the court and he would look at the players, what they're wearing, and he'd have to write. But then the NBA got they didn't have enough money, and so they did away with that person. And they got some kid from college who'd never played basketball before to chart fouls on his computer.
Yeah.
And they would just sit there and do that. And so, when that happened with the evaluating with the NBA, it's like right call, missed call, number of right calls, just no calls, whatever it was. I don't even know. But it kind of took took like the human aspect out of it.
Yeah.
Because being an athlete and a player, when you're shooting, whether you got hammered or there was a little bit of contact, right?
Right.
When you're going up and you should have made a shot, you got a little foul, but the ball should have gone in. I think some of that goes into my officiating.
Yeah.
Or if I'm dribbling the ball up the court and I'm getting hand checked, is it really rerouting me? Or can I play through the contact?
Right.
So I think being a player and an athlete, you kind of know what kids should play through and what they should get rewarded as a foul for.
Yeah.
And I think first impressions mean a lot in terms of how they walk out, onto the court and how they look.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a presence, and it's an intangible, and you're not always right. But I think, if someone comes out there and I would say looks athletic or looks fit, which fit seems to be more the,
Yes.
Especially if you're newer,
Yes.
you better be fit.
Right.
And I think that's just part of making that first impression. Like, I played it, and now I'm going to adjudicate.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
Believability is one of the words we like to use. Believability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when you walk on the court, does somebody believe that you're going to do a good?
That's a good word.
And they can tell by seeing you walk on the court, and
Do you appear credible?
Credible. And a lot of times when I walk out, I know people in the stands, right? And I can't. Like, I can't say hi. I can't shake hands. I can't kiss babies. I need to walk on the court. I have a job to do. And I need to be as professional as possible. And everybody in the gym thinks, okay, she belongs. And that's what I try to portray when I go on the court every time.
Great. Have you reffed only high school? Have you ever reffed college? Have you reffed youth?
I did. I didn't do a lot of youth. I just find that that's excruciating and painful. I've done junior college, and I didn't particularly enjoy it because I didn't enjoy the long days.
Okay.
Because when I started reffing, I had 2 little kids, and I'd rather be home with the kids than drive to Ukiah and ref
For $60.
For $60.
Right.
You get there 2 hours before the game. Your partners, you wouldn't really necessarily know them or have a relationship with. And then you get home at 12, and then you feel bad that your husband's watching the kids, right? So I didn't love junior college.
Got it.
But I did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously Mike did.
Mike, so in your experience, so you reffed how many years did you ref high school?
I reffed high school from 1985 to 1991.
And then you went up to the NCAA.
Yes. Well, I tried to get into, in 1991, that year, I tried to get into the NCB or the NCBOA of the city because Larry Moyer said, he goes, if you can get it, he goes, I think I can get you a Sacred Heart SI game. At the Mahoney game. And so I started to go to a couple meetings. I don't know if I paid my dues, but then that summer I got hired by the WCC in Big West. And at that time it was highly recommended. We are independent contractors, but it was highly recommended that you push aside your entire high school schedule.
Okay.
And the reason for that was if a college coach was scouting a high school player and then they saw you reffing high school, and then they happen to see you reffing their game, they're like, I got a high school official.
Right.
So you have to, in 1991.
So it's your believability issue that's going to impact the believability.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really wanted,
Yeah.
The proximity of reffing MCALs. I did ref in the East Bay, but I wanted to ref I wanted to ref Reardon, SI, and SH. But yeah, I ended up not doing that. So I went junior college, D3 and D2.
Okay.
And supplemented that with really a cup of coffee in the WCC and the Big West. I got 11 games total, and they were all preseason. My Division I schedule was done by probably December 20th.
Yeah.
But you also gave it up for your family.
Yes.
So there's that aspect.
Yes.
He could have continued on, I'd
Yeah.
add, but we made choices and we both made a similar choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember talking to you about that, Mike. I mean, so it's an interesting, this is a more general topic, but I want to unpack it a few different ways. So the difference in reffing at different levels, whether it's college or high school, reffing boys versus girls, men versus women. And the topic I want to hit on first is Marin or MCal versus the rest of the Bay Area. So I think I saw you after the Doherty Valley Marin Catholic boys game, open game. It was a great game. But the physicality of that game was really substantial. Like, it was a very physical game, and the refs were letting them play.
Okay.
But the refs were letting them play. This was an NCS Open Division game a couple weeks ago.
So my opinion, because I did see that game, my opinion was that those three referees, and you expect that, you get Division One or the higher level open.
Yeah.
Those guys all ref college.
So that's
there's no doubt that they ref college, but I think Marin Catholic and Doherty Valley warranted, like Nancy said, you see kids that can play through contact.
Okay.
There was one foul in the first quarter, and the score was 25-23.
So
That's
another
a great quarter.
That's a great quarter.
So in terms of watching the game, it was great.
Yeah.
I'm sure coaching the game, maybe, I don't know how stressful it was. Duffy was on the sidelines, but we have another coach friend of ours who won't divulge name, but another NCS game he was talking about where it was Marin team playing a team from the East Bay. And he said in the first 3 minutes of that game, if it was an MCal game, there would have been 9 fouls called. And there weren't any fouls called.
Mm-hmm.
Just every play, the refs were letting them play through contact. And the East Bay kids seemed to be used to that, and the Marin kids were not. So I guess it's a question for you. Do you think, is that a valid observation that MCal games are refed tighter than other?
I don't think that's a valid observation because our refs do those NCS games. And I like I had mentioned earlier that I have gone to some of the NCS games where our people are reffing.
Yeah.
So it's a philosophy that each official has, how much contact they're going to let go.
Okay.
Sometimes you get in a crew of 3 and you see your partner not calling something and you're trying to match your partner's non-call, right? So you do try to match what your partners are calling. They probably had a discussion at halftime, I would imagine, like, hey, are we letting them play too much or should we be calling more fouls? I'm sure that discussion was going on. Of course, I didn't see the game, so I don't know. But we try to have the same officiating style everywhere in California.
Okay. But that's interesting. So even in the course of a game, because I remember we asked Daryl this question, like, so if you're a two person crew and your partner is letting it go underneath, now on your end, when you're the lead and she's the trail, you're gonna try and kind of mimic her? Are you trying to balance it out, or are you going to be like, okay, I saw a foul, I'm going to call a foul?
No, I'll have a discussion probably and say, what did you see on this play?
Yeah.
They might say, I probably shouldn't have called that foul. And I go, fair enough.
Okay.
And then I won't call it on the other end. And I'm not going to mimic a play.
Yeah.
But if there is a level of physicality that my partners are letting go, I will probably try to match that, or I would have a discussion with them. Are we letting them play too much? Should we get a little bit tighter? We do adjust mid-game. I did.
Yeah.
Sure
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the heat of the moment, that's a tough one. If, I know we would have a saying, I'm not sure if it was Larry Morris saying, but like we'd say, we're going to let them block shots. That's just we're going to let them block shots, like the 80-20 rule.
Right.
80% ball, 20% little contact. That's a block shot.
Let that one go.
But you're telling your partner or partners pregame that, let's recognize that. If we're going to, and I always say there's always the have to calls.
Yeah.
If I miss one and I miss it, and now that we're going down towards Nancy, she can't miss it just because I missed it. She's got to, for the integrity of the game, she got to get that call.
We call that a crew saver.
Yeah.
That is a crew saver. So you do have to get the elephants.
The have tos.
Right.
You got to get the have tos.
How soon after you miss it, is it too late? Like, so if let's say you miss one, could you wait 3/4 of a second and then call it? Is that?
Yeah, you can start, develop, finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the mantras we try to use.
Yeah.
Start, develop, finish. So somebody drives, it develops, they finish, ball goes in, little contact.
Okay.
Ball bangs off the rim, contact, probably should call it. Then you blow your whistle.
Okay.
So you do pause a second to see if the ball goes in.
And then you get the coach saying, "Oh, that's a late call," but then you say,
But you saw it.
"You saw it,"
and that's just experience.
Yeah.
That is just that's being a referee with experience. You just get better. You just get better at being more patient.
Right.
And so that's that. And we all,
And it's a late whistle, but it's not really late because you're watching the whole play.
late.
Well,
but great.
it's the correct whistle, and I like as a coach, I'm fine. I've never been upset with later calls if they're the right call.
Going back, both of you mentioned huddling with your partner or your partners. What does that, give us an example of what that might be like pregame and then halftime?
Well, timeout, like the first timeout, a lot of times I like to get the crew together just to check in. Like, how you guys feeling about this game? One guy will go, feeling good. How are you feeling? Well, good. I tried to kick that travel call. I didn't like my call. And I'll go, that's cool. You're fine. You'll be fine. Or I'll say, hey, what'd you see on that call down there? Like, did you like it? And either they say yes or no. So you do check in with your partners quite a bit.
Yeah.
I do. I like to communicate, and I'll call them out too. Like, it's probably not a great call, and if I know the person, I'm not going to call out a new person and say that, they missed something. But a lot of times people admit to it, like, to kick a call. You try to keep a straight pace when you're walking to the table, but when you kick something,
Right.
obviously.
It's all about the pregame.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about the pregame. And when you get an R, which is the crew chief, who demands and commands the checklist. I mean, it's almost like a checklist of like a pilot taking off.
Yeah.
You got it can be printed.
Yep.
It is printed, and you're just hitting all of it. And that kind of incorporates some unfamiliarity of a crew, if there is some, to bring them together, provided everybody shows up on time, to have the time to really go through, a good pregame. The one thing I would say, and only because when you say bring the crew together, don't just bring one of your crew together, because
Bring everybody.
I was at Davis and I was talking to just one of the guys, and we had a crew chief who was did a Final Four game, had a couple Final Four games. He was down at the other end, and me and this other guy were talking. We were kind of rooks. And after the game, he called us out and said, "You guys were talking about me." Yeah. We said, "No, we weren't." But it just was a reminder that the perception is, because if you got three, there's always two. There could always be two against one.
Yeah.
And even in our sensitivity there shouldn't be any sensitivity, but the sensitivity of a 3-man crew, you got to still be inclusive.
Yeah.
And that was a good lesson. I learned it early.
How much does a pregame, and I'm sure this is more for bigger games, but how much does it include a discussion of, the coaches that are out there and players that may be there that you may know have they may be more prone to flop or complain or chirp or whatever it is? Is that usually part of the conversation?
Yeah. Do you scout your teams?
Yeah, it's definitely in the pregame. Yeah. Like as Mike is a coach, hey, he's going to go to half court and he's going to get out of his box. And are you going to take care of him? Because he's not going to stay in his box. Because at Marin Catholic, you got the table.
Just back him up.
So,
Marin Catholic has this unfair coaching box advantage.
So, if you're at Marin Catholic, you talk about the gym. That's the first thing you talk about.
Yeah.
Like the visiting bench has a disadvantage. They're right at the table.
Yeah.
And the table holds them.
Yeah.
That's a very effective job.
Yes.
It's like prison.
So, yes, you talk about the players, you talk about the coaches, you talk about the fans. Like, hey, watch this guy's dad. He's at the end line and he's going to be yelling at you. If he's a problem, we need to talk to the side administrator and we need to talk to him. Know who the side administrator is. Like the first thing you do, who's the side administrator? They're your best friends. Adam Cowan at Marin Catholic is a great example of a really good side.
So Nancy, that's usually the athletic director, right? Or somebody like that.
It could be a principal or it could be dean of students.
At the lower levels, it could be the coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be the freshman coach because nobody's at the off-site. The athletic director usually at the home gym or something. So,
but
yeah, you definitely talk about the coaches. You talk about the coaching box. Like, are we going to enforce it tonight? Because if we're going to enforce it, we need to enforce it from the tip, right? Get them back. Don't let the players stand up. This team stands up. Like, make sure the players are sitting on the bench. This player, swore at you the last game. But one of the things Larry Moyer told us is you go into every game with a clean slate. Like every game is this clean slate. Even though the coach got a T in the last game, or yelled at me or said something inappropriate, you go in with a clean slate and you try to have that mindset.
Is that hard to do?
As a veteran, it's not so hard to do. As a new official, it's very hard to do.
Because like you think about, okay, a player like Draymond. I know you guys don't ref the NBA, but it seems like Draymond, not yet, obviously. Nancy's there soon. Nancy's there soon. Mike's playing too much golf now. A player like Draymond, right? Well, I didn't say how good your golf was. I just said you're playing a lot. Draymond gets dinged for stuff. I think that you could argue if Steph said the same thing or did the same thing, he wouldn't get dinged for. And obviously, Draymond has a body of work that merits that to some degree, right? But to your clean slate question, it's like,
well, we're dealing with high school kids. Like, if you can't handle a high school kids and you're in the wrong profession, right? These are high school kids. Like, they're not gonna go too far.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah. I mean, there's a line.
Yeah.
There's a line. And then amongst the crew, you get together and you would tell your partners, like, I'm done with that coach. I'm going to stay away from him. I haven't warned him yet, but him and I are done talking. So you guys, just inform the other two guys about that.
That's actually part of our protocol too. Like, if you tee a coach, you walk away and your partner deals with the
and you stay away.
You stay away. And some of our newer officials, and I've watched a bunch of games where that hasn't happened. And it's like, why are you still talking to the coach? You don't tell the coach to sit down. Your partner tells him to sit down. You go to your partner, tee the coach, calm down. What are we doing? Okay, we're 2 free throws, ball at half court. Okay, now you need to tell the table and you need to tell the coach to sit. So as you're more, 3 of you need to come together, or 2 of you, depending on the game.
By the way, is this KK? We're talking about technicals.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetically, she may or may not have received her first technical this year. After a technical, is the coach required to sit down?
Yeah. In high school, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
High school, yeah. Not, but I would say,
I know.
For the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say in college, you would talk about, because there's a lot of familiarity. There's a lot of familiarity with that. And if he's teed him once and it's personal.
Yes.
He'll want to go up and get near him so he can run it.
Okay.
And then he'll say, I've got this. And then, again, I was mostly a rook.
Yeah.
I got into Division I when I was 30 and I got out when I was 39. So I was still a puppy roughing with guys in their 50s that were established.
Been around for 30 years.
Yeah. That were just, that just managed. And then if they said, I'm going back into the lion's den, well, he's going back in to run them.
Yeah.
And then,
And one technical, you can run a coach too. It doesn't need to be 2.
Right. You don't even need any tees. You can just run a coach. And sometimes and once you learn that, not that I've ever done that, but that's only right because now you're not penalizing the team or penalizing the kid.
Right.
If the coach is a clown, just excuse him. And, so, it can be 0 tees, 1 tees, mandatory 2 tees. But not that that's ever happened, but I think it's always good to know that, if everybody else is comporting themselves in the right way.
By the way, Mike's not looking at anyone in particular.
I was going to say.
But he probably is looking at KK more than anyone else.
Well, when he said if the coach is a clown, he looked at me directly. No, but we have a guest star, Caden Korst. KK, go ahead, ask your question.
Sorry, I don't mean to crash. Well, I do.
You do mean to crash, yes.
How come coaches, when they get teed up, why do they want to make it about them? It's like they become they're not clowns before they get teed up, in my opinion. They're fired up, they're protecting their kids, whatever. After they get teed up and basically told, that's your calm down, we're the ones reffing, they make it more about them.
The officials.
Yes.
Oh, the officials. I think
No, the coaches. No, the coaches. Like, why? It's a rule. After you get teed up, you sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't coaches?
Because coaches have to be right.
Well, I tell you, it's not easy to run a coach. Like, it's not one of our, in fact, we don't do it very often and we don't do it enough. And every one of our pre-season meetings, we support you 100%. Please run the coach. Because I have to write up reports for technical fouls, or like if a coach says something to a referee, I have to send it to the AD, then send it to the principal, and they go, why didn't your referee TM, or why didn't he toss him? can't answer that question. And I go back to the referee. Why didn't you team and toss them? I don't know. I don't want to penalize the kids. They were playing so hard. It was a tough time of the game. So it's really not easy for officials. We probably had 2,000 games this year in our association. We probably ejected 10 coaches.
Whoa.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
And probably 150 needed ejected. And I tell our officials pre-season, we support you 100%. The principals support you 100%. The athletic directors support you 100%. They want to know if their coaches are acting like fools. They want to have the data so they can get rid of the coach. And if we don't take care of business, they don't have any proof that the coach said this or did this.
Very important question. Have either of you ever run an assistant coach?
I have not.
No. No. You don't
Tell them to sit down.
you just don't want to hear from assistants.
I'd like to point out, KK, I'd like to point out that Nancy didn't know who I was, and she's ref several of our games, which shows you that I'm being
Dave, that's a tribute to you.
docile assistant coach.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, actually, but this kind of, it's really interesting. This is great insight into, so this pregame meeting where you're establishing these ground rules, because I'm always curious about how do refs decide what they're going to let slide of the little things. I'm not talking about calls on the court. I'm talking about coaching box, assistant coaches standing, those little kind of gray areas that sometimes coaches are all over the floor and have free reign to do so. I can tell you Fulton would walk out to the 3-point line sometimes, it seems like, and get away with it.
Ellen.
If I did that as a head coach, I would have been escorted back to my coaching box immediately, right? So is it seniority? Is it?
I think
what is it?
Sometimes if they're coaching their team and they're not necessarily yelling at you, it's
Okay.
different. If somebody is passionately coaching their team and they're out of the box, you try to walk them back to their box. If they're yelling at you, they're getting personal, then it's different. And it's all about crew, what their level of tolerance is as well.
I'll put my coach's hat on.
Yes.
And that is a frustrating thing. I don't need you to get the coaching box right, or my players are standing up, or my shirts aren't tucked in. Get the freaking block charge right.
Could not agree more.
Get in between the lines right. And then because in my opinion, if they're looking at all that other stuff, then they're not looking at the 10 on the court.
Yeah.
And so that's my coach's hat. And again, I probably took that as I got into college. I don't think I was any better or any worse than the senior guys that I was with, but they could manage the game. It was all about managing the game and getting the trust of the coaches. And if you had that, you could kick any call.
Right.
And just there was open lines of communication, but there was a familiarity and there was a trust, but it was really managing. And and I think at the high school games, the guys that can manage a game, the guys and the ladies that can manage a game, they get through it. Their calls aren't any better than the brand new official.
Do you prefer 2-person crews or 3-person crews?
No, there's not even.
Mike just held up 3 fingers
Yeah.
instantly.
There's no.
Not even
Really?
close. Not even close.
How about as a coach?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the game. I think the kids warrant the extra set of eyes, and I think there's a lot going on away from the ball that you want a game managed. I think the mechanics to get 3 sets of eyes on the entire 94 feet is mandatory.
Okay, so is that solely a financial decision, or what dictates 3-person crews?
So like we have 3 leagues. We service 3 leagues. So we
Okay.
have the Vine Valley, and when Scott Davis was the commissioner, he insisted that there was 3-person crews. So for 1 year, we had 3-person crews. It costs the schools, probably $90 or $100 more per game, boys and girls. And if you do it for the boys, you have to do it for the girls. And the NBL up in Sonoma County, they will never go to 3-person crews. It's all financial. But we go to the NASO, National Association of Sports Officials. There's a summit every year, and all the states in the United States get together, and everybody talks about officiating. And most states have 3-person crews.
Interesting.
Most states. California is one of the few that it's not.
And I know you know this because you may have told me this. Guys want to ref in Marin County because they get to be part of a 3-person crew. And, when you get in this, for the most part, everybody's looking to climb.
Yeah.
And the only way you climb is to get 3-person crew experience.
Yeah.
And so to have Marin County, you get better
You get a
officials
chance
from
to
further
climb, yeah.
away.
Well, and all the guys from like the East Bay guys that don't necessarily get the 3-person cruise. We have a lot of San Francisco, because San Francisco, the only 3-person cruise, I believe, is the WCAL, right?
WCL.
Yeah.
WCL.
West Capital.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think they have 3-person cruise, but everybody else is 2-person. Yeah, they're not all 3-person cruise in San Francisco. So we get a lot of guys that come over to Marin, a lot of East Bay people. The guys from up north, they want to come down to do the 3-person games. It's more fun for the officials as well too. Like, they're not running as far, beating the guys down the court if you have to. The sea can see a lot right through if you're the third official. It's a better game.
Okay.
I think the kids don't get away with as much, and I think they're on better behaved too.
For the listeners who may not really know, where they may not be paying attention to the officials until there's a bad call, and then they're like, why did they miss that call? And a lot of times the official that's nearest to a coach or a fan, they'll be hearing about it, but they'll say it wasn't my call. So in a 3-person crew, break down for us, Mike, where the 3 officials are, and what is like their realm that they like, is it their primary?
Well, so you got prime, and I think it's been a few years since I've been in those meetings, and Nancy can correct me, but I know there's a primary and the secondary, and I'm not sure. And then the third person probably plays off of them. But I think you probably have 2 sets of eyes on the play. But that's more of a Nancy question.
Technically, if you're in a 3-person crew, you should only have 2 defenders. That's the most people you should be watching, is 2 defenders. Because if you have 3 defenders, you're watching somebody else's person. You should only have two defenders. That's kind of what my cue is. Watch the defense. Whoever said to you that's not my call, I want their name.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot, right?
I hear it all the
All the
Yeah,
time,
as an
yeah.
official, that's one of the things you don't ever.
So
want
it's
to
not,
say.
but is it true?
No, it's not necessarily true, because I've been to games and I've been in part of games where, as a trail official, the ball's on the opposite side of the court, which is not in your primary, but you have a really good look on an inside shot, like right under the basket, and you've got the only open look. Like, it's all about angles as an official.
Right.
Unobstructed look.
In a 3-person crew, the third person should have a late whistle and let the first person pass, let the second person pass. I'm like, I got to get that. Right.
Okay.
So you like your partner to come in and get that, because you're stacked without players, but somebody on the offside is grabbing his arm. And the only person that can see that has got a good aim. It's all about aim.
Yeah.
That official can be the furthest away, but he has the depth. So if you think of watching an NFL game, the guy, the catch with the 2 feet and the control, and the official is right on it, he's looking at the guy behind him who's 20 yards away before he decides whether it's 2 feet in and it's controlled and all that, because that guy doesn't have to move his head. Right. The guy who's this far away, if I'm looking at your feet, I got to do this. Right. And so I think that's what, so it's basically the same concept. If you're an official and you don't need to move your head and you're just looking at a TV screen, you're going to get that better right. View. Yeah. And so the closer you are, because there's always that saying, that ref called it from left field. Well, that guy or gal had a great look. Right. And then they had probably the best look. And so I think that's kind of how, what the NFL sideline calls, they always check with a guy further away because that guy hasn't had to move his head. Yeah. The one thing I would say, and I learned this in college, again, more of a trust thing. If they want a piece of my partner who kicked one, I would say, and it was probably said about me if I miss a call, is like, hey, he's a good official. When he gets a rotation and gets over towards you, he'll explain it to you. He'll give you his ear. I'm not telling you whether it's good or bad, but he'll come over and give you an ear. And
it's funny because I wrecked a game and I was with a newer official, and one of the coaches said to me, "This game is absolutely too big for them. Why did you let this person on this game? They're terrible. They don't have any place. They don't belong in this game." And I would say is they absolutely deserve this game. And that was a great call. And that's what I'm going to say if a coach is yelling about my partners.
Yeah.
I'm going to support them 100%. And that's really what you want in a crew. Whether I believe it's a good call or a bad call, it's not going to change the call.
Right.
Okay, so
And you got to get through the game.
Yeah. And you want to, yeah.
so self-serving question.
Aren't they all, Dave?
They all are. This whole thing is a self-serving experience. What is a productive interaction with a coach during a game as a ref? Like what?
The first thing we like to do is we don't respond to comments. We respond to questions.
Okay.
So if you're going to make a comment like that was a terrible call, I'm not going to respond.
Yeah.
If you ask me,
What did you see there?
What did you see on that play?
Yeah.
Well, I saw the defender had legal guarding position. So I try to give a short answer. You don't want to give too much commentaries. If you want to have a short commentary, you don't want to respond to comments.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't have a running dialogue, because I know that when I was coaching, if my counterpart at the other end of the opposing coach is having a dialogue, are they talking about dinner reservations?
Right.
Are they getting cozy? There's, you get a little there's
Sure.
always a little paranoia
Yeah.
about who's, not that anybody needs an edge, but you don't want anybody else having an edge. So yeah. And I always, I mean, if I think the coach is respectful, I'll sit as close as Nancy and I are together, and we can have a quick bop, and then separate. If I know that they're not, then you just stay away. Now he's got to scream at you.
Yep.
And then he's got to either make a decision to calm down, or you tee him.
But yeah, asking the questions is a good.
Yeah.
I ask the question. Don't respond to comments. And another, like Mike says, is like, I'm very aware of who gets the lip service and who doesn't get the lip service, because you can't give one coach answers all the time and the other coach has nothing.
Right.
Yeah. And some coaches like, I can't answer your questions on every single foul. You're disrupting my game.
Yeah.
So you do have to not answer every single question that the coach asks. And when you do talk to a coach, you should really have your back to the coach. You should not be talking to your coach face to face, because then you're not watching.
They don't watch the game.
10
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So we try to teach the officials as much as possible, but I think it's experience that kind of helps you in social, situations with coaches.
So if you have a game where there's a foul imbalance, let's say in a period. So like we had a game a couple weeks ago where it was like 9-2. We had 9 fouls in the first quarter and they had 2. And it was a physical game, and you could argue that they were doing a better job of getting the ball inside than we were, but still. And at some point I said to KK, like, it's 9-2 fouls. And she made a comment to the ref, like, hey, by the way, just check the scoreboard on the fouls. Like, and so as a ref, does that inform your behavior going forward, or is it it is what it is and every play is a new thing?
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Because one team's in a zone and one team's in a man-to-man.
Right.
One team's aggressive, one team's passive. Like, I will say, though, I will look for a foul on the team that has 2, but I'm not going to make a foul up.
Right.
My answer would be that's because you fouled 9 times and they fouled twice. And then
Mike,
and then
come on.
and then go and then like Nancy says, not go find one, but
Right.
go find one.
There you go.
Or 2 or 3.
Don't make it up.
Yeah.
If it's there,
No, if right.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I think you can, and again, that's management,
right.
That's management within within the rules of how to get through a game where everybody feels good about.
Yeah.
What would be, thank you so much, KK.
Caden course.
Great job.
Assist.
he's not buying them.
No.
If one team is playing pressure defense and trapping maybe 40% of the time, the other team is like dropping back into like, say, a zone, what would you go into a game expecting the differential to be? Because it's probably not 50-50 when you walk in the gym. Obviously, there's a lot that could go on, but you're trapping, like there's more like arms around balls, right? And would it be 60-40, 55-45?
I think the play dictates it. I've never gone in with a number of you're just aware. You need 2 guys in the backcourt if they're trapping and whatnot.
Yep.
But no, I'm not looking for percentages or the play is going to dictate what you call. I think again, it would for everybody in the gym to see a 9 versus 2 is where you're going to respond to it. But I think pregame, you're not, other than the style of play, you're not thinking about foul count.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
definitely not. Like it's what the kids are going to bring you. You like to go in, coming in with like, okay, this is a playoff game. Kids are going to be hyped up.
Right.
Like, we're going to dictate what our level of tolerance is going to be in the first 4 or 5 minutes. So make your first couple calls good calls, because that's how we got to carry it through the game.
That sets the tone.
It sets the tone. So
Yeah.
you got to decide what tone you're setting. Like, are you setting, no hands on the dribbler, or you 2 hands on the dribbler, like post up, like what are you going to tolerate tonight? And you got to set it and you got to stick to it, unless they're not responding to it.
That's great. Okay. Can we talk about a specific rule that I think people don't understand totally? It's called backcourt.
Easy. It's easy. It's easy. It's so easy. It is so easy.
Okay,
I'm
so
glad we agree on this. Go ahead,
obviously,
Nance. Go ahead,
I
Nance.
mean, there's one answer.
Yeah.
2 feet in the ball.
Okay. So, I think the gray area
Yes.
comes into play when, let's say, a player is now in the front court,
Yes.
passes the ball to their teammate receives the ball also in the front court, but the last time they touched the floor was in the backcourt. So they jump from the backcourt into the front court to receive.
They're in the air.
They're in the air. They catch it and they land in the front court, but they left the last.
It's backcourt.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where people.
You have to have 2 feet in the front court in order to
And the ball.
Yeah.
So you can have 2 feet in the front court, and if the ball's dribbling in the backcourt, there's no violation.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could be straddling the half court line,
Yeah.
dribbling back and forth.
Okay, but now let's say, so now everything, 2 feet of the ball in the front court.
Oh, you need all 3
You need all 3, but
in the front court.
in the front court.
Everything else is backcourt.
But the last time the player, but if the player catches it in the front court with 2 feet,
Is he in the air?
yes.
Yes.
So that's
Then he's
so
in the backcourt.
So that's the
your
issue.
position is like where you
We're last.
where you
Okay.
He has not he's not established 2 feet in the ball in the front.
And if a player catches the ball, so again, 2 feet in ball in the front court, player catches the ball, not in the air, but on the ground, but 1 foot in the front court, 1 foot in the back court.
Still backcourt.
That's backcourt.
No, he's still in the backcourt, so there's no violation.
But if the ball's already established front court,
The ball's in the front court,
the
though.
ball's already established front court, the 2 feet in the ball.
How many feet are in the front court?
1 foot. The receiver, 1 foot in the front court, 1 foot in the back court.
Then no violation because he's
No.
still in the backcourt.
No, but the ball was already in the front court.
The ball's in the front court,
The
yeah.
ball was already in the front.
Already.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
got you. I
Okay.
got you. You know, another one about that is which I learned the hard way. So it's a front court set, and the ball it gets scrambled, and the defender hits it.
Yep.
And then it goes off the offensive team, and it goes in the backcourt, and the offensive team picks it up. It's backcourt.
Is it really?
Yes.
Because it wasn't.
No,
the
because the last person
possession-
to touch it, last person to touch it.
Oh, last person to touch it.
Touch it, yes. And people will say, well, the defensive team deflected it,
But it touched an
but
offensive
it touched
player.
an offensive player, and that's one where you get a lot of grief. It's a last touch.
Last
on,
touch.
okay.
Another weird one in the backcourt too is like on shot. Say a long shot goes and
Yeah.
the ball like bounces and nobody has established possession yet, and it ends up in the backcourt. It's not backcourt.
It's not.
It's not on a long rebound.
Because it's a rebound.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
You're getting us into the weeds. You're getting us into the weeds here.
You guys are. Okay, can we do another esoteric one that came up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask the NFL question. All right. The NFL play. You know, this one where, so out of bounds play become in vogue in the last couple of years. So 5 players line up out of bounds like they're an NFL team. They run into the front court. So we're up late. Team is pressing us. Timeout. We draw up this NFL play. We have all 5 players out of bounds, but this was not after a made basket. This was a dead ball. And the official told us we can't do that on a dead ball. You can only do that play off of a made basket where you can run the baseline. So the alternative would have been, we could have set it up where the inbounder was out of bounds, but all the other 4 players were just 6 inches in bounds.
Yeah.
Same concept. But I did not know that rule.
Well, it's you have 3 feet. Like when you have the ball out of bounds, you only have 3 feet. like there's
Yeah.
no such thing as traveling out of bounds, which
Right.
is a misnomer. Like people think you can actually dribble the ball out of bounds. If you're taking the ball out of bounds, you can move 3 feet,
Okay.
and you can move back as far as you want. You can move 3 feet either way. And you can't pass the ball to your teammate who's out of bounds.
But I think the question is, can the other 4 guys
Be out of bounds.
be out of bounds? Like coming out of a timeout on a dead ball. All right, Nance. All right.
Crack open the rule book.
It's like that's a case.
We stumped him, Duff.
Well, is that the rule where you can't be if you're out of bounds, you can't be the first person to touch the ball?
But if you establish 2 feet inside
Yeah.
in bounds, then
Then
you
you
get
just have.
I think this is different, but I don't.
It was, I had never,
What was
It was
the
a-
play you're trying to run?
it's awesome. It's the NFL play.
Go to the station. Go to the station wagon. Do a button hook, and then
I
the other guy
think it's-
runs. The other guy runs to the fire hydrant.
It is, in my experience, it is the most effective way. Okay, late game, 10 seconds are left. You're ahead. You need to get the ball in bounds. You know they're going to foul you. You can run any press break you want. The best way to get it in is you set up like an NFL team, and you have 2 people go long,
And you cross them.
and then you do a button hook with
Yeah.
your best free throw shooter. And I tell you, it works every time.
Yeah.
Except that one time when the ref didn't let us do it.
Yeah.
But we could have done it.
But you could have done.
We still could have done it.
Move them. Yeah.
Move them 6 inches.
Would have
ahead.
cost you another timeout.
Exactly, which we didn't have. So anyway, okay. So are there the rule changes? This gets to kind of the rules change every year, right? The big one, obviously, the last couple of years. Well, there are 2 that I wanted to talk about. One, flopping. I'm curious for your perspective on is flopping. Has that had the intended consequence? Like, has the result of that rule change been positive?
It's very hard to adjudicate because most referees have a hard time recognizing it and actually calling it. And I don't really like the new flopping rule because it tends to take the flow of the game away. Like if you have a defensive flop, you have a flop and then it's a dead ball where the offense might have a fast break, but you have to call a flop. Then you have to put it in the book. It's like, so
Right.
It's hard to adjudicate. Has it done the intended thing? I don't really think so. I don't particularly like that.
I know the last year I was coaching, I think it was the first year, but 2 years in, or maybe even 3.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about it a lot when you guys made your presentation. I don't remember it even being discussion. I'm just recalling last year. I don't know that it was ever called, and the handful of games I went to this year, I don't know. From my perspective, a whole lot of nothing.
Did you ever have that
What do
call
you-
in one of your games?
I've seen it the last couple of years. I've seen it primarily when I've seen it like a couple defensive flops, but it's the shooter who kicks their leg out a little bit. And it's kind of, as a shooter, I do that sometimes. I'm not trying to draw a foul. It's just sometimes like maybe you're protecting yourself. I've seen it called on that, but I haven't seen it called very much on this, what I
Like
find
a
to
block
be
charge.
that or this annoying move where like you're driving and then you get hit a little bit and then you flop your head back.
Fly
like
back.
that. Yeah, that.
With the offensive guy.
The offense,
Right.
yeah, which I think that's where I'd love to see it.
We don't call
Oh.
it enough,
Yeah.
and I think it takes the officials by surprise, and they don't like to stop the play for it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for us. Adjudication of it is not good.
And the first one's a warning, right?
First one's a warning, second one's a T.
But it's a team foul.
Yeah.
It's a team concept. So if Duffy gets a flopping warning, the next one, even if it's me, it's not that's a T, right? It's 2 per team.
It is.
But it's not an individual
It's not-
foul.
No, it's a team thing. Okay. How about the big change going from 7 fouls per half to 5 fouls per quarter, taking away the 1-on-1, moving to 2 foul shots?
I like that. I think it's been effective. I really do. I think that the second quarter runs a lot more smooth because they're already shooting free throws in the first quarter. I think there's a lot less fouls.
I thought I would really dislike it. I ended up really liking it.
I'm the same.
Yeah,
Totally. the same.
really, because you can as a coach, you can just plan.
Yeah.
You can just prepare so much more, knowing that there's 2 free throws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And I thought I would really dislike it.
I agree.
From a player's perspective, you always think of the down 1 with a 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
Has it decreased fouling overall?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because 5 fouls are already in double bonus.
Yeah. And that was one of the goals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speed up the games. That's
Yeah.
always the
I got a question for Nancy.
Please go.
When is the NCAA men's game going to catch up with everybody else? The NCAA women all the high school and the NBA all have 4 quarters, all have, 5 fouls and you're shooting. And NC2A men are still 20-minute halves and 1-on-1.
And I think a lot of the men's officials that do JC and do, the men's game, they like the women's rules more than they like the men's rules.
Agreed.
Yeah. I work with guys and they're like, man, I really like these high school rules. I don't like the men's JC rules and the men, I don't like them.
And coach, I think the coaches would like it too because you get an extra couple times.
Although I will say one strange thing, Nancy, maybe you can enlighten us here. Why does the girls' high school game not have 10-second backcourt?
They're trying to institute it. Every year it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I think they're trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It just seems kind of arbitrary to me. I mean, it's fine.
Why the difference in the shot clock?
Yeah, it's a different shot clock.
Yeah.
And there's no 10-second rule. It's just strange.
Just be thankful California has a shot clock because there's 20-something states, I believe, that don't have shot clocks.
Mike, I was a Jonas Honick Branson player. We hated the shot clock.
Hey,
we'd hold the ball for 4 minutes.
Winning 10-8.
The shot clock was 8 minutes.
You didn't even have to inflate the basketball with us. I mean, we didn't dribble it.
Brett Tavani, Paul Faribuff game was,
In the
38, 36.
Everybody's happy.
Exactly.
Just yelling to 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Exactly. All right, Duff, we're going to move on. Do you have any other nerdy rule change or in-game questions that you have?
I do have more, but I think moving on is good.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. We're going to send some questions to Daryl, and we're going to give him the really hard.
Okay, good. We'll
get
do
it
that.
down.
Daryl, explain the NFL out of bounds play to us.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about the evaluation process. First of all, I didn't know this until my friend Tony Butler told me. Referees evaluate the coaches. Discuss this.
Well, I know.
Is there any kind of evaluation process where, like, at the end of the season, you talk about the coaches and no? Okay. So how is the evaluation process for you? How are you evaluated as a ref?
So we have Bruce Shoemaker, who Mike mentioned earlier. He runs our observation group, and there's like 6 college basketball officials.
Yeah. Okay.
And every official gets evaluated twice a year, and they get a written observation and they get video of them working blocks.
Are you aware of when you're being evaluated?
Well, I do.
Yes.
I know the observers.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like a secret shopper
Well,
kind of.
it is some officials it's secret. Some is secret.
As a coach, that's when I would look and see if there was an evaluator.
Really? Okay. Like,
and then I would know how they're going to comport themselves.
Well, that is true. But now all the high schools have the video, the NFHS live stream.
Right.
So some of our observers are watching games on live stream because we had an evaluator get a knee replacement, and he's been watching the NFHS live streams and evaluating officials and writing a written report. So we do have access to the live streams, and that live stream has saved me a couple times because I've had to look up plays from a coach or a referee said, hey, at the 2-minute mark in this video, can you take a look at this play and let me know what you think? So it's been great for us. But yes, we have 6 observers who worked college, and we have 1 guy that runs it, and everybody gets evaluated twice.
Okay. And ultimately, what's the outcome of the evaluation? So do you have like an annual kind of end of the season, you have a review and they give you the feedback, or how does that work?
We're having a hard time with this because our evaluators are kind, and they're too kind.
Okay.
Because everybody, once they get their evaluation, believes they are qualified to do boys varsity 3-person crews only in Marin the rest of their careers because of how their evaluation reads. But they might be working a girls' freshman game, and they might be doing a good job at a girls' freshman, but it doesn't necessarily mean
translate.
So it's really hard for us. What we do at the end of the year is we get our observers together, and we get myself and Tim Dalton, who's the assigner, and we rank our top. We have to rank our top 30 officials, and we give it to the NorCal for state. And so from the evaluations, from the meetings they attend, from pretty much their peers who have worked with them, we get our top 30 officials.
Got it.
And then we turn that over to the state, and we say, here's our top 30. We actually rank them 1 through 30, which is hard to do. And the state will take that based on our rankings, and I then have conversations with the state guy. And hey, do you think this guy's ready for a state game? This year we'll have a couple officials that are not at state game. Oh. Yeah, they're already slated, depending how they do on the NorCal final games, which are happening this week, and they're slated to the state game. So we do. Everybody gets evaluated.
Okay. Dumb question. So the rules for a girls varsity game or a boys varsity game are identical across the state. They don't change by league or division. It's just a state CIF, whatever it is. Okay. Does the evaluation impact job security? Is there a financial impact? I get that you could get chosen to ref higher stakes games. Is there a job security aspect to it?
There is, because we had about 4 officials this year who were observed, and after they were observed, they were told to not referee again.
Okay.
So there is that aspect.
So there's that.
There is that's a hard phone call to make, and I always get to make it. But I just tell them to work CYO, work AAU, and some take it well and some don't take it very well. But we're all independent contractors, so there's no contract that they sign. Everybody's an at-will employees. They're not employees. Take that.
Yeah.
They're at-will contract. We make a distinction between that. So
I would say the other piece that Nancy and the GGOB do really well is they have a training camp every summer.
Okay.
And Justin Sienna has been maybe San Rafael, and as a coach, I mean, I just appreciate the effort that the GGOB board makes, and the officials that show up. I don't know if they're getting paid. I don't know if they're getting paid or not, but that someone wants to get better at their craft in the off season, just like we would think of a player or coaches going to conference. Officials are doing the same thing. Great. It's a hard job, but I know when I would see you guys giving the platform and then guys participating.
Nancy, are you seeing
that's appreciated? It's appreciated.
To that point, are you seeing new entrants into the ref game? I mean, we hear this constant recurring cliche of, there's a ref shortage and people are leaving it. Like, is that true? Like, or are new people coming in?
Economy, right? Like the economy dictates a lot of whether we get officials. When the economy is not that great, we have a lot of officials wanting to work games.
Okay.
When the economy gets better, people don't want to be working basketball games. When I started, there was a lot more people giving back to the craft, like Mike saying, go to your shoemaker, do it half for free, right? Like he would do it for free on a Sunday night anyway. If we had the people that would attend our camps and attend our rules meetings, and we offer it, but there's not a lot of people that take us up on it.
Right.
Which is really frustrating because when I started, I couldn't get enough. Like I wanted to go to camp. There was camps that were cheap, but now a lot of the camps are $500. If you want to go to a referee camp, I just got 2 referee camps that people that says hey, come to our camp. $500 for a Saturday and a Sunday.
That's a lot.
But those camps are run by a supervisor of officials from a conference, and that's how you get hired.
Right.
That's how I got hired.
Oh, okay.
And you might need to officiate 10 games to pay for that $500 if you're if you want to climb,
but it gets you.
You just got to get in front. You got to get in front of the person who's hiring.
I've got a question on evaluations, Dave, if you don't mind going back. So if you're looking, there are different components of the evaluation. Yeah. What would be the most important?
That's a good question. Yeah. So we have 5 categories. Appearance is 10%. Mechanics, are you putting your arm up? Are you open fist?
Mike Saia keeps doing these NBA gestures. I don't know. It's really hamming it up.
Not too well in the mechanics. Then you have judgment. Judgment's a big one too. I wish I had the categories.
Communication.
Yeah, that's not a big one. I don't know what all the categories. Actually, I probably don't.
Seems like you could get a lot of calls. Like you could kick some calls, but if the communication is off, either with your team or the opposing coaches, that will be the thing that gets you up here.
I would say, from my experience, and then as a coach, is can you manage a game, and are you a good play caller? That's it. Everything else, you want to undershirt, all that stuff for Nancy to run an organization, you got to have those standards.
Yeah, decorum, professionalism.
From a coach. Yep. And when I was a college official, it was, can you manage the game, and you're a good play callers.
Yep. This kind of relates to evaluation, but analytics are a big topic. Obviously, I'm sure as a coach, you're all over analytics. We have Huddle, we pour through stats and analytics. Does analytics play a part in reffing? So are you looking at, okay, how many fouls were called per game in the MCAL this year versus prior years? Is that going up or down? Is that at all inform anything or not really?
No, we don't do any of those kinds of. We basically we mostly break down our own games. And
Okay.
look for our positioning. Look for a position as one.
Yep.
Positioning is one.
There you go.
Yep.
You're going to get there. You're going to hit all of them.
Hit 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we'll basically break down our own games or our friends' games. Like somebody will call me and break down a game, and just like, was that a good call? Was a bad call? What my position? I'll get clips from people,
Yeah.
but I won't overall get a jump. Just too many things.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
we
sense.
We don't.
Do you find, I want to go back to something I said earlier, but we never really hit on it. So when we were talking about the difference in refereeing, Marin versus outside the county, how about girls versus boys? Do you call games differently when you're reffing a girls game versus a boys game, or is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Boys game, Larry Moyer, make your first call a boys varsity call. Don't call and take a shot foul, but everybody still says, she really can't ref boys, can she? So
Okay.
make your first call a good.
Mm-hmm.
In girls, definitely different than I do the boys. Right. Physicality is obviously not as great.
Yeah.
A lot of jump balls in girls basketball. How you have some small travels, depending on, the skill level of the
Yeah.
teams, you're not going to call every travel. You'd be there all day.
Right.
So boys, skilled two boys teams are calling every travel.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
Definitely not.
At the girls level, especially younger, and I watch this a bunch with my daughter. There are a lot of games where it's just like as soon as a rebound occurs, everyone's just going. Is there a way? I mean, those are legal plays, but obviously it's not fun to watch. It's not really improving their skill. I mean, maybe it's getting someone.
Well, it's
tougher
Park and
ball.
Rec second grade, no
Yeah.
press. Everyone's got to run back.
Run back.
I mean,
Yeah.
And actually, the NFHS, one of the rule changes this year is as soon as there's hands on the ball, boom, blow your whistle. They don't want any. That's
really?
Yeah. There's two sets of hands on the ball.
Jump ball.
Because they don't want the elbows.
Okay.
they don't want that carried on.
Yeah,
man.
and that's one of the points of emphasis last year.
Oh, interesting.
Quick jump ball calls, which I don't particularly like,
Yeah.
especially in the boys' game.
Yeah.
I think,
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
but you're supposed to blow your whistle.
I got a question as a coach, which has been a pet peeve, is the scramble.
Yeah.
And I've tried to do it, but they award a team a timeout without any control,
Without clear possession.
without clear possession. And I think
Yeah.
the officials are trying to get away from that and calling that a jump ball
Yeah.
and not rewarding someone who's just a coach who's just quick to call the timeout.
What
And
they'll say is, he called it before
Yeah.
they had the hands on
Right.
the ball.
Right.
so you're watching this and you're listening to that. and-
Yeah.
No, he called it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great question.
Explain that. Yeah. So I think officials are getting more in tune to just calling it a
Just
jump
call
ball.
it
Yeah.
We're calling it quick. We're supposed to call it, but
Yeah.
But I don't like rewarding a coach.
yeah.
I mean, even though I know that.
yeah.
I tried
Probably done that before.
Especially if you're in my ear and I see it. I'm like, no, he called the
Yeah,
timeout
yeah.
right before.
Yeah.
So when you are watching games, when you're watching college games or WNBA or NBA games, are you watching the officials?
First thing I do is see who's working the game. See if I
Right.
recognize them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of the women's officials, like they've been in camps that I attend.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun watching them referee the games in the women's game, not so much the boys' game. But I do know the boys' officials too, and that's the first thing you look at, right?
It's in my blood.
Yeah.
It's what.
We got a good crew or no?
Well, no. Just
Just watching the.
Just watch the game.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Skaggs, another one of your
Yep.
podcast guests.
Good
He's
friend of
got
ours.
season tickets to Cal, and
Yeah.
I've gone a couple times and see guys there that I came in with.
Oh, cool.
And so that brings it back, and some of those guys are Final Four guys. And so, no, I still watch because now those guys are the guys. They're the seasoned vets that
So
we weren't.
another obvious question that I've never asked you. At that level, like at the Division I level, you're working, I guess now ACC games. Is that your full-time job, or do those guys have other jobs?
I think they would have other jobs, but I think if you probably don't live in a major metropolitan area, that where it costs more to live, you can probably
Get by.
get by, and then you run camps in the summer,
Okay.
and you make it a full-time job. But Yeah. I mean, guys that I know, even back when I was officiating, guys in Idaho and outside of Denver would give up their teaching job and become full time, and that they were at the highest levels.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of them try to move to hubs where they have easy plane flights.
Right.
Like a lot of the guys, like in Arizona or LA, a lot of them officials in Arizona, but
Yes. Yeah.
depending on the hub of the airlines, they can travel all over the United States.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We're getting near the end here. Nancy,
I want to go back. Sorry.
go. Oh, I got all the time in the world.
This occurred to me earlier on. So we were talking about how you were both players, and you had kind of, it's nice to be a player. If you're going to be an official, it gives you like that cred right away. But talk a little bit about, I'll start with Nancy and then Mike, talk about the difference between being a player and what you get out of the game versus being an official and what you get out of that job. They seem very different to me. Obviously, they're both the sport of basketball, but one of them you might be winning or losing. The other, you're just trying to be invisible as much as you can.
So as an official, I think what I enjoy the most is I feel like I do a decent job as an official, and I want to keep the game fair, right? And I feel like I've played, so I try to give the kids a fair game, like know what a travel is, know what a foul is for the most part. And so you get the satisfaction of hopefully giving your best every time you step on the floor. Knowing the kids, like, I have the passion, I love basketball, and every time I step on the floor, whether it's an 8th grade girls game or a freshman girls game or a varsity boys game, I'm going to give them my best that day, right, as an official. If I'm a player, I'm also giving my best as a player because I want to win. So the two are different. Winning and playing hard is one, and hopefully doing a good job for the kids is what I'm official.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, it's all about team. The team concept. So team concept obviously is a player.
Yeah.
And there's never one guy. It's just team wins, team loses. And then when you kind of grow out of that and get to be an official, you're a team of 3. And especially in college where you sometimes, flying into an airport and then you're getting together and then you've got a 2-hour drive to University of Wyoming, or, you're driving and you're together, and then you go into an arena and there's, 8 or 10 or 15,000 people, that it just elevates the expectation and say, okay, we got an impossible job.
Yeah.
But we're looking around in the pregame and there's just us 3 guys, us 3 gals to try to do this and figure this out for the next hour and a half. And the accomplishment of getting through it, you got to get through it. And if you can excel at it, it's as good a feeling as there is, playing a game or winning a game.
I mean, Duffy asked the question in a much nicer way. I was literally going to ask a very similar question, which is, why do you do this? Because it seems like such a thankless job. I mean, in the best case scenario, nobody notices you, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're required to do a job, and you just do your job. You get in, you get out.
You have like tunnel vision when you're on the court. Like, it's like playing, like you don't hear your mom up in the stands. Like, when you're refereeing basketball, like no matter the level that you're doing, we walk in and you're nervous. I mean, I'm nervous for every game.
Sure.
I don't walk in taking anything for granted.
Yeah.
So every game I'm a little bit nervous. And I get on the court, and then all of a sudden it's like your mind turns off. Like you got the coaches, you got the players, you got the 10 players, and that's all you think about, your partners. It's us against the world.
Yeah.
And we don't see what's going on. So it's kind of a high in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're just
no doubt.
No
doubt.
You're just you got 3 people who want to be with you, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else likes you. So, yeah.
I like hearing that you're nervous. I mean, look, as coaches, as a player, I was always nervous, and I always was wondering, would coaches get nervous? I can tell you, yes, coaches certainly get nervous.
But they you would think that, officials should be egoless, but I was told, no, it's okay to have an ego, but you really, if you have a healthy ego, because you're going to need that, because you're going to need to be sure of yourself and sure of your partners. And if you can share that together, and really there's nothing like going out at any game, knowing that all 3 are on the same page. And it is fun. I mean, it is fun, but it is impossible. I mean,
have you guys had situations where you felt like the game was getting away from you? Like it was a really intense physical game and it's chippy and the crowd's on you and you feel like, all right, it's because sometimes we've all been there, right? Where we feel like, wow, these officials really have let this game get out of control. Have you ever been in that situation where like every game?
Absolutely. You come out, you go, oh my God, that was a.
So what do you do? So like,
move on to the next game.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. You could maybe look to see what you could have done differently to not let it get out of hand. Like maybe we could have, as a crew, you talk like maybe we should have done this earlier.
Yeah.
But a lot of, you walk out like I should have teamed the coach. I should have teamed the player.
Well, to your point about maybe also running coaches a little bit sooner, right?
And you're never going to come out of a game like, I'm so glad I didn't tee the coach. You come out of the game going, I didn't tee the coach.
Right.
Well, so yes, games get out of control.
Yeah. I had a situation where I was the lead under the basket and there was a rebound and an outlet and the ball and the players and everybody went down the court. And so I should have been watching the rebounders and staying with them, but my eyes followed the ball. All of a sudden, the two big guys, one guy is basically holding his nose in his hand.
Yeah.
And I did not see it, but there's blood everywhere.
So it's unmistakable that something happened.
It was a crime scene.
Yeah.
And so stop the game. And now, and then, I don't know about you, Nancy, but when your partners come to you and say, what do you got? You're like,
I got nothing.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I got a piece of that nose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hitting the right nostril.
Anyway, so that is not a good feeling. And so when you ask that question, that's first thing I thought of. That definitely got away. And I know what I didn't do correctly.
You're supposed to
stay back. Your partner's got the ball.
Okay. Again, not in the script, Nancy. Is there a day when AI will referee basketball games?
No, what I saw was watching something. They want to put like 4 officials on the courts. Yeah, they've been
tell Buck about that.
The GC has had like 4 officials, and it's a weird rotation. And I also saw a game, like an international game. They have microphones that are talking to each other.
Oh, interesting.
So those two things are. I don't think they're coming anytime soon.
It's an NFL thing.
But definitely the microphone and the talking is coming. So I don't.
Where would the 4 be? Where would I have?
Even know.
Don't even know.
There's 4 persons.
One of them is on a drone that's like flying above.
Yeah. And the soccer officials are all talking to each other now. It's been for a while. But basketball officials are starting to have microphones.
All right.
Get into position. Yeah.
Well, technology.
Move your ass. Get in position.
Exactly. Okay. Crunch time, you good?
Crunch time, yeah.
We've reached crunch time. Nancy, this is the end of our interview where we just kind of throw some rapid fire questions at you. Mike, we'll see if your answers track with what you gave us when we talked to you 2 years ago. Okay, favorite gym. Oh, there's an ad to this one. Let's go Marin and outside Marin. Mike, you go first.
Oh, the same answer for high school has got to be Drake.
Good.
Just because I shot there. Favorite gym outside of that is the pit at University of New Mexico. 18,000 people.
Unbelievable. Yeah. The crowd's like on top of you, right?
It's just the pitch down. It's one level.
Yeah.
And the pitch down is you're basically doing squats, walking down the ramp to get to the floor.
Yeah. That's awesome.
My favorite gym in Marin is probably Redwood because it's the biggest.
Yeah.
I like to be deep as the lead, and there's not walls on the end line.
Yeah.
We have a deeper sideline. So those are my favorite gyms to work in.
Great.
Angles go. Out of Marin, I have to say Bishop O'Dowd, the old Bishop O'Dowd gym.
Yeah.
I
the
mean,
bird cage.
Yeah, they have like the bird cage at the top, and I would go there for North Coast and NorCal games, and the atmosphere is great because it's different than Marin, and you've got a scorekeeper literally up high. Have you guys ever been in that?
No.
Oh, it's classic.
Yeah.
Oh, you know I have. Yeah.
And then like the teams have like and then there's like hardly any stands.
Huh. 300, 400 people?
Yeah, maybe. And it's packed and everybody's yelling at you, and it's like, great, let's go.
That's awesome.
And their girls teams are good and their boys teams
I
are
mean,
good.
like one of the perennial great programs.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite games you ever worked? What jumps out at you? Nancy, you go first.
Shoot. No, that's a hard one. I worked so many games. I mean, probably the state games are the most fun.
So you've done some state games?
Yeah. I refereed Sabrina Ineskia when she played at Miramar in one of her state games. So those were always fun. Those are fun games. Yeah.
Kelly get on you?
Kelly, he'd seen me a number of times, so he had a little bit of trust in me. So
Okay.
he wasn't too bad. Unless he's listening to this, then he was great.
Of course.
But he and I have seen each other quite a few times. So Patty and Steve.
Great.
Yeah. So nervous for those games, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
So nervous.
Feels so corporate.
Yeah, it does.
Feels very
March
business-like.
year,
Was it Golden One or where?
Sacramento, 1 year was at Berkeley. Cal Berkeley had it 1 year, and Golden One, yeah.
Cool.
I'm
How about
going
you,
to
Mike?
say my age. I was Arco.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
I would say, pertinent to this, and I had a handful of MCL finals games, and Whitey, Mike Parno, I repped with him. I repped with Bobby McLean, and I think I repped with Steve Ferrari, who's another high school legend.
Were those at Redwood?
All at Redwood, yeah. Yeah. All at Redwood, yeah. And maybe back then it was a double elimination too. Possibly, yeah.
2-person cruise.
Two-person cruise, yeah. Yeah. And then college, lucky enough to do 2 NCAA first round games. I did a Duke Radford game at Rupp Arena. That would probably be my number one because it was the year after Christian Leitner hit the shot on Kentucky. Yep. And then Duke was the number 1 seed in the Southeast Regional at Rupp Arena. And they just showed up just to get after Coach Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
And then
And how did Coach K treat you?
He knew my name for no apparent reason other than to make sure he was the alpha. Yep. Jump ball. Radford steals the tip. Guy goes in, and I got an and 1 against Elton Brand. And Radford goes up 3-0. And so I report the foul, and then I'm right next to him, and he was, not very nice.
She was not nice?
No. And so it was 3-0, and I think it ended up being 27-5.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was definitely, and that was definitely my cup of coffee. But for me, it was like nervous as I'll get up. So, yeah.
Okay, how about favorite or funniest coaches that you've ever had to deal with?
I think Doug Dinello is one of my favorite coaches because he would just whine on the sideline. I would just kind of laugh like, it's not working. Like, you can whine all you want, but I'm not changing the calls. Like, I'm just going to, it's just done.
Yeah. Right.
Is he whining before the call, during the call, and after the call? Or
Doug's a listener.
But,
Hi, Doug.
But he would always but I didn't really react too much because it didn't okay, go ahead and yell at me. My skin is thick. So you can go ahead and say whatever. So, I mean, he's funny. He's kind of a funny.
That's great.
He's a witty guy.
Oh, Doug's awesome. Yeah.
Steve Campagno, just because we played against each other.
Old Redwood coach.
And then,
great guy,
Redwood coach.
Great player.
Yeah. He was a year ahead of me at Redwood and then Marin Catholic. And then he went to Cal Poly to play baseball and I was there playing basketball. So we got to know each other. And then we had just epic Redwood Marin Catholic games throughout the years. And he was, him or Doug were like the senior coaches and Steve, and I was brand new. And it was like, Steve would almost tell me I had to sing a song at the coaches meeting, because that's what every new coach does.
Hazing.
And it was a hazing period. Yeah. And so, but no, those were just great. We wanted to rip each other's head off.
Sure.
Yeah. Until the final buzzer. And then we hug it out. So it's beautiful.
Awesome. You got any crunch time questions?
Well, we got to do the favorite restaurant, right?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Favorite restaurant, Nancy?
How you doing? Good, man. How are you? Good. Nice to see you. Yeah.
I would say Perry's is one of my favorite restaurants in Larkspur. I like it with it.
They're way too much. Yep.
You always see somebody you know, and there's always a game.
And if you want to come see the Marin Catholic coaches complaining about the officials after the game, you'll probably find them.
That's where a lot of post game beverages at Perry's were there all the time.
Sanderfeld Joe's quite a bit, but that's kind of died out.
Yeah, and I think they're really closed earlier.
Yes, nobody stays open because we're done at 9. So the officials like to go out too after, but every place closes at 9.
I know.
The Cheesecake Factory is like the only place we go post game because it's on the way home for the city guys and the East Bay guys don't like doing that.
Open until
11.
Oh, good to know.
That's good intel.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So my answer was Il Davi Days, I think, before.
That was.
In honor of my parents, I would say I'm going to go with Fradlizio's.
Okay, Fairfax.
Fairfax.
Yeah. Classic. Yeah.
Thank you, Holden Ballard.
Thank you, bud.
That's really kind of you.
This has been great.
Awesome.
I've learned a lot.
This has been
Although the
fantastic.
backcourt, I'm still a little fuzzy. But
No, I got it. I'm all over it. I'll explain it to you later. Nancy, Mike, thank you guys so much. This was awesome. Daryl, wish we could have had Daryl as well, but maybe we'll do round 2. We'll bring in Daryl. We'll definitely get Daryl's perspective on some of this stuff.
Yeah, he's
too.
going to send us a voice memo
Yeah, he'll send us a voice memo.
or 2.
But everybody, coaches, players out there, next year.
I would like to just say that to have a high school game, you need your team, you need the opposing team, but you need the officials.
Yes.
And really Nancy and that staff and their attentiveness to making it what it is and the way they go about their job. It shouldn't be something that
The alternative is anarchy, right?
well,
Yeah,
exactly. But that Nancy and Tim and their board, it's
They do a great job.
it's a labor of love because
Yeah.
they're I don't know how many calls they're getting, saying what a great job they're doing because they usually get the junk. But truly, Nancy, it's really appreciated that not only at the varsity level, but the JV level and the freshman level to make it all have an experience for coaches, players, and parents and communities.
Well said.
It's not. It doesn't happen without
Yeah.
the GGOB.
So
thank you.
so well said.
Yeah, thank you. And another thing, like we don't get paid for running this organization. The people that work with me are not getting paid. Like they're doing it out of the love of the game. And they want to see officials get better. We're trying to make our association better every year.
Yeah.
And little steps at a time, video. And we have to get our officials also to buy into getting better, which is the hardest thing to do. Buy into not working an AAU game on Saturday and coming to our games instead.
Right.
So instead of making $200, you might not need to make any money and just come to camp and just learn, just listen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing that we face.
Well, thank you for what you do. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, to the players, coaches out there next year, if Nancy's doing your game or anybody's doing your game, be respectful to the refs and be appreciative of what they do because they put a lot of thought and time into this and they're great at what they do.
And no comments, just questions.
Just ask questions. Don't make comments. Stay in your coaching box, Duffy. Assistant coaches, sit down. Be indivisible like I am.
Sit the heck down.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, can't thank you enough. Thank you for being here. Awesome.
And you understand, Mike might be coming back on court too.
Oh,
Oh, wow. We're breaking news.
Really?
Yeah, breaking news.
We'll see. It's
as a player, do you have some eligibility left?
I'm a COVID kid.
Going into the portal.
yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, a huge thank you to Mike and to Nancy for this informative and interesting roundtable, a perspective from the world behind the pinstripes. I definitely learned a lot. Hopefully, listeners, you did as well. And if you are a coach or a player, maybe there are a few observations from Mike and Nancy that might help inform your interaction with the officials as you move forward through your basketball career. We have just 2 postscripts. The first is Mike sent us some clippings that are 30 plus years old from the NCAA tournament year that he references where he is an official at Rep Arena. The same year, his brother Jimmy was an assistant for Steve Lavin and that UCLA team. And in the clippings, I couldn't help but notice they quote Mike giving his ranking of would he prefer to be a player, coach, or official. And his order of preference at that time was number 1, player, number 2, coach, number 3, official. But now we asked him to re-rank. And as of 2026, with Coach Saia considering coming back to be a referee Saia, the rankings had reversed. But of course, he noted playing was still the most fun. And I think we can probably all agree on that. And then also, Nancy was kind enough to send us a postscript regarding some coaches that she really respected. And so she's got a brief shout out and anecdote about Mike's daughter, Ashley Saia, coming up here, and then we'll roll it out to stroke 9. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to visit the Run TMC pop-up store.
I'd like to give a shout out to Ashley Saia. She is probably my favorite coach on the sideline. She would always ask pertinent questions, and I would give her answers, and she would be happy with the answer, and she would move on. I especially respected her for when her assistant coach was acting out, standing up, or talking to the officials. I would say, Ashley, could you please tell Dan to sit down? He should not be talking to us. She would turn around and look at Dan and say, Dan, keep your mouth shut. Do not talk to them anymore. Speaking to him like a little kid who just got in trouble, which I thought was good, as Dan is probably 30 years older than her, but it did not bother her one single bit to tell him that it was not his place to talk to the officials as an assistant coach. So I always respected her for that. Some coaches, if you tell them to tell their assistant coach to sit down or not talk to the officials, they will question you and they will say, well, what did he say to you? So Ashley never questioned us. She just turned around and told her assistant to not talk to us.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey, dude, you too must be from Marin."